Good morning, and welcome to Bible and Brekkie. Thanks for joining us. So, as you can see today, it is a smaller group, a more skeleton crew, and so we're just going to share a couple of thoughts from First Peter. Actually, we've been going through Romans and talking about different things in Romans, and so now we're just going to go into and just share a short thought and just something that you guys can take for the weekend or for Friday, and hopefully be blessed by it in some way, shape, or form. So jumping into First Peter 3, we're just going to spend a couple minutes in the book of Peter, instead of Romans 14, what we would have gone into. But what's really cool is that the Bible app, I don't know how many of you are familiar with that one, with the Bible app in YouVersion, the one that you have on your phone. I can show you how it looks right here. It's actually this brown one, Holy Bible. And they have something really cool in it. Sometimes I'll check it out some mornings and whatnot. And they have what they're calling story. So you can open a story. And when you open that story, they have different, thoughts and things that you can check out and see of what they have for the day. And today's thought I thought was very, very, very good. And I think it actually went with a lot of what we've been talking about in Romans. And for those of you that have been following or maybe catching up at later times, I was like, man, I was reading, I was like, this is pretty cool. So I'm just going to read a little bit of what it said. And so it says, they had to welcome. And the question was that they posed this morning on the Bible app, YouVersion: what are you eager to do? We're talking today about why we should seek to do good. Before starting, take a moment to thank God for his presence. And then they go into the text of 1 Peter 3:13. So I'm going to pull it up. I actually have it here for you guys, and so you guys can see it along with me if you want to, or so you should choose to. But 1 Peter 3, starting in verse 8, beautifully, Peter is again really similar to what we were reading in chapter 12 of Romans, how Paul was saying, what is living in the Spirit, working in the Spirit? What does it look like to really be a follower of Christ, in this new idea of being righteous by faith, right? And how that looks in our day-to-day in terms of our relationships with others. And here we go, verse 8 in chapter 3 of 1 Peter. I don't know why I say it backwards, but I figure I've seen myself do that when I'm preaching. Instead of saying 1 Peter 3, I say chapter 3 of whatever. So verse 8 begins like this: finally, all of you, be like-minded, be sympathetic, love one another, be compassionate and humble. Do not repay evil with evil, or insult with insult. On the contrary, repay evil with blessing, because to this you were called, so that you may inherit a blessing. Even there, a lot of it, a lot of the language feels like you can echo it from what Jesus would tell his disciples, language from the Sermon on the Mount. I like that, right? Be sympathetic, love one another, be compassionate, be humble. Sit down, be humble. Don't repay evil with evil, or insult with insult, but instead repay evil with a blessing. Because to this you were called, so that you may inherit blessing, right? So there's this idea going back even, I think, to Genesis 12, where God calls Abraham out and says, look, I'm going to lead you to a nation and to a people and make you a great nation, and lead you, you could just follow me to where I'm going to lead you. I'm going to do great things through you, and you will be a blessing. He says, I'm going to bless you and you will be a blessing. And Paul and Peter here in 1 Peter 3 continues on that language, on this idea of being a blessing, of being blessed, and of being a blessing. And so we continue, right? It says, whoever would love life and see good days must keep their tongue from evil and their lips from deceitful speech. So if you want to see life, if you want to enjoy life, if you want to have good days in your life, keep your tongue from evil, keep your lips from deceitful speech. You got to turn from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. For the eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are attentive to their prayer. But the face of the Lord is against those who do evil. So just a simple, do good, don't do evil, don't act in the way of the world. Is something that we've been talking about in Romans, how Paul is presenting a countercultural, even counter-religious idea of how to live and how to maneuver and how to act on this world and the reality of what we have been given through Jesus Christ. So Peter here again, I'm sorry, I'm so used to saying Paul, so we've been doing Romans, but he says the eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are attentive to their prayer, but the face of the Lord is against those who do evil. So we get to the verse where the YouVersion Bible is really talking about, and I don't know if I guess I can highlight there, but maybe that, let's see if maybe we can color it. Oh, we gotta sign in, never mind. So it says the verse in, oops, sorry about that, guys. Maybe I'm not going to be able to do this. Read. There we go. And so it says, let's see if I can make this bigger. That's as big as it is. Who is going to harm you if you are eager to do good? Peter's saying, who is going to harm you if you are eager to do good? If you're eager to do good, if you desire to do good, who can and who will want to harm you? But then Peter says, well, I mean, I know there are evil people in this world and people that hate good and they just want to do evil. And Peter says, but even if you should suffer for what is right, you are blessed. Don't fear their threats. Do not be frightened. In your hearts, revere Christ as Lord, and always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. But do it with gentleness and respect. And it's that verse that the YouVersion Bible really hits on, right? Who's going to harm you for doing good? Who's going to want to do harm to you if you're so eager to do good to others? And Peter says, even if they do, even if you should suffer for what is right or from doing good, you are blessed. And so they act, and they ask in the app, they say, reflect on this. And what's something, this is for all of us, right? What's something that you could do today that spreads goodness? What is something today that you can do to show that you are eager to do good to others, right? Some of the options here that they give is send an encouraging message to a coworker, buy a meal for a stranger, invite a neighbor over for dinner, or I guess virtually invite them over for dinner on Zoom. What's something that you could do that spreads goodness today? Right. For many of us, as we go about our day, maybe you can, if you're doing a drive-through, paying for the people and the person behind you, if you see someone on the side of the road, giving them money, if you, I don't know, sending an encouraging message to a family member you haven't talked to in a while, to a coworker, encouraging, spending some time listening to those that you're close to and whatnot. And I thought that was very cool in the sense of what we've been talking about with Paul and how Paul has been communicating the idea of what it looks like to live in and walk in the Spirit, right? Especially in chapters Romans 12 as we were going in, and we've gone up to Romans 13, and we'll continue with Romans 14 hopefully next week. But Paul is saying in Romans, as throughout, he's saying there's a new way of living, there's a new way of operating, there's a new way of working and doing life, and something that we were really hitting on was just change in our attitude towards others, right? And especially last week, as we were talking about Romans 13, something that really stuck with me, and maybe it stuck with you if you were here joining us and watched this, is just like our response to the government. How, obviously we were talking how it's different times and whatnot, but just how the only thing that Paul says that we should owe others is to love them and to care for them, and how that should, that principle of giving and owing love to people should really dictate every aspect of our lives, right? Whether it be how we vote, how we look for jobs, how we advocate for our needs. And something I've been wrestling with as I've been, had the privilege of preaching this for this weekend, for tomorrow, actually, on chapters 12 and 13, really wrestling throughout the week of what it looks like to really be for others, right? In every aspect of life, right? When I'm going out about my business, when I'm making decisions, when I get my money in, right, at the end of the month, getting paid, and I look at my, what I have, and you're thinking, okay, where can I, give tithe, and I'm going to give tithe, I'm going to give offering. Is there some other places I can actually help, right, and benefit? We have a lot of friends and acquaintances in Beirut, Lebanon, especially in the Middle Eastern University there, the Seventh-day Adventist University. So there's a lot of things that you're like, I can help out in those areas. I can help out in the Equal Justice Institute or initiative that's helping people that are in suffering systematic oppression and persecution and I just blank on that, but it's from the movie Just Mercy. So just looking at how you spend your money and just the idea of I need to be looking out for the benefits of others, not just my own. And I think that translates a lot to our political climate at this moment, right? When you're voting and when you're going to the polls, and I encourage you, go vote, right? We've been talking about that. Fill out your mail absentee ballots, fill out the voting from home and whatnot. It's fairly simple. Get involved, but even I've been wrestling with, like, how do I express these principle of being for others in every decision that I take, even in how I vote, right? So many times we're voting on what I think will bring me most benefit, on what I think will be the best for me, right? As a straight white passing Latino Christian man, right? And so I obviously, based on my context of who I am, it leads me to vote, and be a part of things that really affect me. But how much time do I spend in hearing and listening to the pleas and the desires of others so that I can speak up for them as well? And I think that's what Paul is hitting at too, and even Peter in First Peter that we were just seeing, that we are to really be involved in the lives of others, so much so that beautiful, just to read Romans 12 again, where in verse well, I'm just going to read Philippians, actually, because I think Philippians says a great part. Philippians 2 verse 3 and 4, and Paul says, don't do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, rather in humility value others above yourselves, right? So Paul's saying, look, in your life, it's not about you, and we've bought into the idea of the American dream, right? It's my house, it's getting my white picket fence, it's my getting everything I can for myself. And Paul's saying it's not about you, because at the core of it, you've already achieved, not achieved, but you've already received the greatest gift of all, which is salvation and forgiveness and righteousness by faith through Jesus. And now your duty is to go out and bless others and be with others and help others. And verse 4 says, not looking to your own interest and what interests you and what your desires are and what helps you and whatnot, but each of you to the interest of others. And so I think that's kind of the appeal to us today, especially as we're in a political and coming to an election time. Are we voting with the backdrop of what brings most benefit to all those around me? Or am I simply voting or advocating for policies that simply help me and my business and my financial stability and my family and my beliefs and my traditions and my rituals and what I think should be, American? So I think it's an appeal for us to think about that. Am I truly interested in the interest of others? Or when I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see, a Black Lives Matter march, or I see a story about police brutality, or I see a story about kids on cages, or I think about Syrian refugees that are fleeing the country and trying to find a place to go, do I just scroll past it quickly? Do I not read those stories because they make me feel kind of, first of all, maybe a little guilty, but then I cover it with like, well, it's not my problem, that's theirs. What is my reaction to people that are hurting and crying out for help? I think Paul, if he were here today, and Peter and Jesus himself, they would be interested heavily on what brings the most benefit to the most people. That's what the gospel is all about, right? Bringing salvation to all people that are willing to accept it. And that is our role as Christians. In this just short moment here, just to share with you, our role as Christians is to focus on others. And if we're not doing that, then I don't think we're really being Christian. And I think this is a call for us, especially during this time of this pandemic, from the beginning, when we have just gone crazy with hoarding toilet paper for ourselves and hoarding masks. And then now we've gone the opposite, getting rid of masks. You know, I heard a story yesterday of a man that went up to a kid at a restaurant, and the kid had a mask. He didn't. He pulled the mask down and spit in some way, spoke so close to his face that he spit on his face. And so just our decency and our care for others, our respect for others has really gone out the windows. And I think now is a great time for believers of Jesus Christ, of Christians, to really act out in a loving way and truly showing the world a God of love, and really being active about it. So my question as we finish up here, just it was a short moment, but what is it that you can do today to help and love others, to share with others? Paul, and I'm going to invite you, if you have no idea, go to Romans 12 and read Romans 12, all of Romans 12, but if you want from verses 9 to 21, and you're going to have a lot of practical ideas. You have, what does we say? Rejoicing with those who rejoice, mourning with those who mourn, practice hospitality, sharing with people who are in need. Adiel said feeding a homeless person. So there's a lot of things we can do. So my appeal to you, my encouragement to you today and this weekend is to go out of your way to help others, to really be of the mindset of seeking the best interest and benefit for others. And in so doing, I think we can make a positive impact in our communities and be responsible and good neighbors and good citizens and good people in our communities. So that's my appeal to you. I hope that you are able to take that and are blessed. Again, thank you for tuning in. Those that tuned in, and those that will tune in later. Read those chapters, and I hope that God speaks to your heart as he's been working on my heart and really wrestling and helping me truly see how I make my decisions and why I make my decisions. And so, yeah, go on and love others, serve others, and look at the interests and needs of others before you look at your own. In so doing, you will share God's love. So awesome, guys. Have a great Friday. Have a good Sabbath. Have a great weekend. Love others. And we will see you next Friday. Fridays at 10 a.m. Barring any sudden storm or crazy pastoral duties, we are here on Fridays. You know, as pastors, that can go crazy. I do want to, that's just a quick shout out as we're finishing here. Go follow Las Doñas Hablan on Instagram. They have, they've just recorded some stuff. It's super exciting, great conversation. So I invite you to go check it out. Las Doñas Hablan on Instagram. I don't know if they have a Facebook yet, but we're privileged to have a couple. Well, my wife and Brian and Steven's wife that come on this show as well, that are on part of that group. And so Las Doñas Hablan. I'm checking them out on Instagram. All right, yo. Enjoy it. Continue to have your own Bible and Brekkie at home, and we will see you next Friday. Peace.